Well, Jake Matthews, thanks so much for your time on Fox Sports Australia. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Always love fight week, so just excited to be here, and Sunday can't come soon enough.
It's been a while since we've seen you on these shores. 5 years since you fought at home. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, it's good. Like, obviously, it is a different energy fighting in front of an Aussie crowd, but wherever the octagon is in the world, that's home for me. So I've enjoyed, traveling the world and fighting different countries. And after this fight, I hope to get back to that as well. Chase the bigger opponents. These guys, they don't really want to come out to Australia and fight us. So if we want to chase the ranked guys, we have to go to them, which makes sense. It's kind of a respect thing. I guess you understand that as a fighter.
Yeah. You
have to go to those guys and chase their rankings. So after this fight, we'll get our eyes set to head overseas again.
Yeah, and you have fought big opponents in the past, and obviously you've had some great runs. Your form recently, though, has been a bit inconsistent. You've looked amazing at times, but consistency has been found wanting. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, look, fighting a higher calibre of guys. I'm just getting used to that. Some of the guys I've fought, they've gone into the top 15 and knocking guys out. So, and I've had close fights with them. It's not as if I'm getting bashed in there.
That's right.
But it's just that little extra percent that I definitely know I could have pushed to get those wins. But it's all part of the learning curve. Like, I got it when I was 19. It was always going to be a roller coaster, and it's definitely been that. But hitting 30 now, I think now it's time to switch it up a gear and chase the ranking.
That is crazy, 19 to 30. I mean, we've been following you for so long, but you made your UFC debut over a decade ago. Jake, tell us about the belief that you still have in yourself and what your goals are for 2025.
Yeah, I mean, like the passion and love for the sport is just the same as when I was 19, and the belief in the level that I can reach is the same as well, if not more now, because I've actually, I don't know if I ever believed the whole thing around you peak in your 30s. I always felt like, even when I was 19, I'm like, nah, I'm peaking now. I'm the top now.
Invincible.
Yeah. But now, hitting 30, you go, okay, like mentally, physically, I definitely matured. And I feel like I said, like they say, 30s, early 30s is your peak. And I felt the difference, and I feel like now it's time to, like I said, time to push and chase the rankings. And it all comes down to just adding in all the lessons we've learned. Keeping the aggression of my younger days, but now implementing the IQ I have now.
It's been a big journey for you, not only like inside the cage and what you've been able to achieve, but also like the fact that it has been so long. Mentally, I can imagine it must have been a bit of a challenge at times. Was it difficult to persist for so long?
Yeah, they say the hard part's not getting to the UFC. And I've made this clear on Instagram. It's honestly, like, give me a naturally athletic guy that can fight. I'll pad his record for 12 months, get him on Contender Series, get him to the UFC, but beyond that, I can't help him. That's when the hard work starts. And Joe Silva's famous words, he said, the easy part is getting to the UFC, so the hard part's staying there. So I've definitely done well in the hard part in that department. But it's like I said, it was always going to be a roller coaster getting him when I was 19, and the only thing I wish I could change is the amount of fights I had. I feel like I could have fit in another 6 to 7 fights on top of what I've already fought. Yeah. I had dual hip surgery at one point. Everything's out of my control. Dual hip surgery, having kids, having time off around that to help out at home, and every other little injury or fight that's been pulled on me. I definitely feel like I could have had upward of 6 to 7 fights on top of what I've got now, which probably would have made me the most sort of accomplished Aussie fighter in terms of the amount of fights.
That's right.
And I'd definitely love to have that accolade.
Oh, I'm sure that's coming very, very soon for you. But also, one of the stories that I found the most compelling around you recently, Jake, was your conversion to Islam. And you were saying that it was more of a gradual conversion as opposed to like a 180-degree turn. Talk to me about how you feel your faith has helped you in your journey, and not only with your career, but in your life.
Yeah, I mean, look, fighting is obviously like my career, but I say to a lot of guys, like, fighting is, especially even fighting the UFC at the level I'm at, in the grand scheme of life, it's this big. So if the faith aspect of things helps with my fighting, that's just a bonus. It's the main thing is that it helps me with my life, raising my kids and everything else that I take part in my life, from now until the day that I die. That's the main thing with my faith. And it does help with, obviously, I mean, we see with the Dagestani guys, like, a lot of their discipline and the way that they carry themselves comes down to their faith. And I have implemented some of that into my career, just trying to be a role model and, humility, being humble, and then when it comes to training, look, honestly, I can't say definitive that it's faith or having kids or just maturing in age, but there is like that. The threshold has been lifted in training. There's really no wall, there's no off button. Doesn't matter how tired I get, how sore I feel. I can not only keep pushing, but I can also perform even when I'm past my threshold. And like I said, I think it might be an accumulation of everything: faith, age, having kids. Like it's not about me anymore. It's about putting food on the table. So that ceiling is definitely lifted in regards to how hard I can push myself.
I'm glad you bring up the Dagestan thing, because you mentioned to Brendan Bradford in that article a couple of years ago that you were looking to potentially link up with Khabib and the team. Did that ever take place?
Nah, I was trying to. I think back then you couldn't travel there, so I'm like trying to figure out. Okay, I got to go to Azerbaijan, and then I got to like cross the border here somehow. Probably pay some security, go across the border.
Is it hard to get?
Find a car, drive. Yeah, obviously it's open up now. I think you can fly there, but I've linked up with a few of the Dagestani boys, a few of the Russian boys. I did some training with some Chechen guys in Thailand as well.
Yeah,
they're all lovely guys, and they kind of test you out, make sure if your wrestling and your grappling's up to scratch. Was it? And luckily for me, it was. Yeah. I got invited to a little private, Chechen session, and all lovely guys. And they said, whenever you want to come and train, just hit us up, link up. So I'm slowly inching closer to being able to go to Dagestan and train there. The
best way to sharpen the tools. My goodness, the monsters that they're able to send to the UFC is just remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good reinforcement on my grappling ability. Because in Australia, like we've got good wrestlers, but compared to the rest of the world, it's child's play.
Absolutely. And this weekend, of course, Francisco Prado, very, very impressive, a 100% finish rate. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, look, he's tough. I mean, the thing that stands out is that he's tough and robust. He's taken quite a bit of punishment in a few of his UFC fights, but he hangs in there and keeps pushing through to the end. And I think it's going to make for a good fight. I've got I always back my striking. I've got good boxing. No doubt I'm going to hit him a lot. And I'm trying to open up the whole arsenal for this fight. So I'm going to dish out a lot of punishment. He can obviously take it. So whether that ends up being a finish victory or we're going to go 3 hard rounds to a decision, I'll take it as it comes. Obviously, I want to start getting back to my old ways and getting a lot of finishes, but yeah, he's tough, so it's going to be hard work to get him out of there.
He doesn't have a great record against Aussies, to be fair.
No, he doesn't. Not at all. So, I mean, everything's on my side. He's coming up. He's moved up to welterweight now, fighting on home soil. So everything's in my favour. Just got to bring it on the night. That's all it comes down to, and that's what separates the champs from everyone else, is that they can do what we do in training, but they bring it on the night.
Jake, we can't wait to see you. Great to see you back, mate.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers.